In the remote enclave of Nueva Palatina, a young medical intern named Mariana Sanchez found herself ensnared in a web of despair and isolation. Trapped within the oppressive confines of a dimly lit room adjacent to the clinic where she toiled, her life was overshadowed by an unrelenting harassment that seemed to pervade every corner of her existence. Desperate for relief, Mariana reached out for help, lodging formal complaints that mysteriously vanished, swallowed by an apathetic system. Her pleas fell on deaf ears, and her cries for assistance went unanswered. The world around her remained indifferent, until a devastating discovery shattered the silence. Mariana's lifeless body was found suspended by a rope in the very room that should have been her sanctuary. The swiftness with which her body was cremated obliterated any remaining hope of unveiling the truth behind her tragic end. The questions lingered, haunting those left behind. What truly transpired in the shadowed halls of that clinic? How far did those in power go to ensure that the evidence of her suffering was buried alongside her? This is the story of the murder of Mariana Sanchez, a narrative of silenced voices and concealed truths. On a Thursday, Mariana was preparing to depart, yearning for one last weekend in Nueva Palatina, Chiapas, before returning home. The harassment had not ceased, and she confided in her mother, expressing her growing unease and fear for her safety. She resolved to appeal to the clinic director once more, hoping for a resolution that would allow her to leave the torment behind. But then, the world fell silent to her presence. Mariana's living quarters were a cramped, oppressive space next to the clinic, a constant reminder of Jose's final hours. Why did her calls for help go unheard? Assigned to such a perilous and isolated location, Mariana's predicament raises unsettling questions. Why did the authorities act with such haste to obliterate crucial evidence, truncating any meaningful investigation before her grieving family could seek answers? Mariana Sanchez, a young woman who had devoted her life to the service of others, was met with indifference when she needed protection the most. Born in Mexico City on July 16, 1995, Mariana spent the first months of her life in the vibrant metropolis. Her mother, Lourdes, was her sole guardian, as her father, Ramal. In her formative years, Mariana oscillated between Mexico City and Tuxtla Gutierrez, the home of her maternal grandparents. By the tender age of 6, she chose to settle permanently in Tuxtla Gutierrez with her mother, forging a path defined by quiet determination and resilience. Though the details of her childhood and adolescence remain sparse, she was remembered as a cheerful yet introspective young girl. Upon graduating from high school, Mariana initially pursued a career in dentistry, only to discover her true passion lay in medicine. She transferred to the University of Autónoma in Chiapas, aspiring to become a doctor. Her dedication to her studies was unwavering, as she excelled academically and gained invaluable experience working at a private clinic. Her ambition was to specialize in pathology, a testament to her quest for knowledge and understanding. In her personal lives, and maintaining an active lifestyle. Yet beneath the surface, her life was a tapestry woven with both joy and struggle, a narrative that would ultimately be overshadowed by the haunting mystery of her untimely demise. As the echoes of her story reverberate through the corridors of time, the search for truth persists. Mariana's legacy is a poignant reminder of the fragility of justice and the unyielding quest for answers in a world that too often turns a blind eye. In the vibrant tapestry of human stories, few threads stand out as brightly as that of Mariana, a young woman of formidable spirit and boundless compassion. Those who knew her spoke of a kindness that resonated deeply with all who crossed her path, an intelligence that shone in her eyes, and a loyalty that never wavered. She was the steadfast friend, the unwavering ally, always ready to stand beside those she cherished. Mariana's life was marked by a courage that persisted even in the face of daunting challenges. Her presence on social media was a reflection of her multifaceted nature. She filled her digital spaces with a delightful blend of memes, heartening quotes, and playful admissions of her affection for junk food and sweets. Yet, beneath this light-hearted facade lay a fierce advocate for change. Mariana used her voice to champion causes close to her heart, such as the legalization of abortion and the critical importance of donating blood, bone marrow, and organs to save lives. As she approached the culmination of her medical education, Mariana faced a pivotal requirement: the completion of her social service at a public clinic in Monterey. This stage was a rite of passage for all final-year medical students, a prerequisite for entering medical residency. For Mariana, it was more than an academic obligation. It was a bridge to her future, albeit one that led her far from the comforts of home. The bond between Mariana and her mother, Lord, was an unbreakable one, forged in the crucible of shared trials. Lord's battle with cancer had drawn them even closer as they navigated each challenge hand in hand. Their weekends together were sacrosanct, a testament to their enduring connection. Mariana's determination to visit her mother as often as possible underscored the depth of their relationship, a bond as vital as the air she breathed. In August of 2020, at the age of 24, Mariana received her assignment: the health center in Nueva Palais, Tena, a remote indigenous community nestled within the municipality of Ocosingo, Chiapas. The assignment was daunting, a test of endurance and resourcefulness. The clinic sat on the fringes of civilization, a modest structure erected through the collective efforts of a community striving for access to essential medical care. Upon her arrival, Mariana was met with stark realities. Her living quarters were a small, Spartan room, its 4 gray walls unadorned, and its amenities non-existent. With no bed provided, she was left to her own devices, improvising a sleeping arrangement amidst an infestation of insects. The absence of basic facilities, such as a bathroom, compounded her isolation. To meet her needs, she traversed an empty lot to share poorly maintained facilities with her colleague, Collie. The absence of a proper door, replaced by a mere sheet of black plastic, left her exposed to the elements and the uncertainties of her environment. The clinic, though born of noble intentions, was a testament to the harshness of reality. Its location in a region fraught with danger and deprivation presented significant risks. Reports of violence against healthcare workers in the area cast a shadow over Mariana's service, underscoring the precariousness of her situation. Yet, in these austere conditions, Mariana's resolve remained unbroken. Her commitment to her vocation, her mother, and the causes she championed illuminated the darkness of her surroundings. It is in such moments of adversity that the true measure of a person is revealed, and Mariana's story, a testament to resilience and dedication, invites us to reflect on the profound impact one individual can have in the relentless pursuit of a better world. Office, a step that many would find daunting given the prevailing culture of impunity. Her bravery, however, did not yield the protection she so desperately needed. The bureaucratic machinery, often sluggish and indifferent, moved at a glacial pace, leaving her pleas for help unanswered and her situation unaltered. In the dusty corridors of the clinic, where the scent of antiseptic mingled with despair, Mariana was not just fighting for her dignity, but for her very survival. Her days were filled with the relentless demands of her medical duties, while her nights were haunted by the looming threat of violence. The clinic, intended to be a place of healing, had become a battleground where Mariana waged a solitary war against the shadows of fear and intimidation. Her plight was emblematic of a broader issue, a microcosm of the systemic failures that plague many institutions. The lack of accountability and the pervasive culture of silence bureaucracy, her cries for help, echoed unanswered in the void. Mariana's story is a poignant reminder of the courage it takes to stand up against oppression, particularly in environments that are hostile to change. Her resolve to report the harassment was not just an act of self-preservation, but a beacon of hope for others, trapped in similar circumstances. Yet, the absence of tangible support from the authorities underscored a harsh reality: that justice, for many, remains an elusive dream. As the days turned into weeks, Mariana's situation became increasingly untenable. Her spirit, though battered, remained unbroken. She continued to fulfill her duties with a professionalism that belied the turmoil within. But each moment in that clinic was a reminder of the precariousness of her existence, of the thin line between safety and peril. The narrative of Mariana is not just a story of individual struggle, but a reflection of societal challenges. It raises critical questions about the structures that are supposed to protect the vulnerable and the gaps that often leave them exposed to harm. Her experience shines a light on the urgent need for reform, for systems that prioritize the safety and dignity of all individuals, regardless of their circumstances. In the end, Mariana's journey is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. It speaks to the power of one voice, striving to be heard amidst the cacophony of silence. Her story is a call to action, urging us to confront the injustices that persist in our world and to work collectively towards a future where no one has to endure what she did. It is a stark reminder that the fight for justice is never just the responsibility of the few, but a collective endeavor that requires the courage and commitment of us all. In the muted corridors of an unassuming clinic, Mariana's story unfolds as a chilling narrative of neglect and despair. A young woman, vibrant and full of promise, found herself ensnared in a web of harassment and indifference. Despite the glaring cries for help, the response from those entrusted with her safety was lethargic at best, dismissive at worst. Her pleas were met with hollow gestures, a suggestion to take time off, a vague assurance that her tormentor would face consequences, assurances that never materialized. The prosecutor's office, the bastion of justice, turned a blind eye, shelving her complaint in the annals of forgotten files. Mariana's isolation was profound, yet she was not entirely alone. Witnesses bore testimony to the audacity of her harasser, who brazenly breached the sanctity of her space, shattering her door as if to underscore the futility of her defenses. In desperation, Mariana turned to Chiapas, the institution tasked with safeguarding her during the crucial juncture of her studies. Yet here, too, she encountered the cold inertia of bureaucracy. Her appeals echoed in the void, unanswered and unheeded. The clinic, once a place of learning and growth, morphed into a realm of dread. Each day was a battle against the encroaching shadows of fear and anxiety. Then, the calendar turned to January 2021, and with it came an irreversible tragedy. On the cusp of her departure from the clinic, Mariana's voice trembled with urgency during a conversation with her mother, Lord. She revealed the persistent harassment, clinging to a fragile hope that one last appeal to the clinic director might yield relief. A promise was made to call again, a promise fate would not allow her to keep. The morning of January 29th dawned with ominous silence. Mariana's absence from the world was a void her friend filled with devastating news. In the confines of her small room, Mariana had been found lifeless, a rope marking the end of her struggle. The revelation seared through her family, a shockwave of grief and disbelief. Lord, despite her own frailties, embarked on a journey southward, driven by a maternal instinct to reclaim her child. The journey was long and arduous, a physical manifestation of the emotional turmoil within. Upon arrival, Lord faced the cold mechanics of official procedures. Access to her daughter's body was obstructed by bureaucratic delays, forcing Lord to confront her grief through the veneer of a closed coffin. In those 20 minutes, she communed with the memory of Mariana, choosing not to confront the finality within. An autopsy, clinical and detached, confirmed death by hanging, a conclusion of suicide etched into the official narrative. Yet, even in death, Mariana's autonomy was denied. Her body was cremated in the absence of her family, a decision that erased the last tangible connection to the life she had lived. Mariana's story is a stark reminder of the systemic failures that can pervade institutions meant to protect and nurture. It is a narrative of silence, of voices unheard, of actions unfulfilled, and of a life extinguished amidst cries for justice. Her legacy is a solemn testament to the need for vigilance, empathy, and accountability in the face of human vulnerability. In the shadow of her tragedy, we are compelled to reflect on the complexities of institutional responsibility and the profound impact of individual actions within the tapestry of society. In the heart of Chiapas, a storm of controversy swirled around the untimely death of Mariana, a young woman whose life was extinguished under circumstances that left an entire nation grappling for answers. Lord, a member of her grieving family, stood resolute in her assertion that no consent had been given for the cremation of Mariana's remains. This act, executed with alarming haste, deprived the family of a crucial opportunity to say their goodbyes and only served to deepen the shadows of their suspicions. The rapidity with which the case was concluded, declaring Mariana's death a suicide, left those who loved her in a state of bewilderment. Questions abounded, their minds steeped in the knowledge of her tumultuous history, a history marred by harassment and an unresolved investigation, both seemingly dismissed in the rush to close her case. In the midst of this turmoil, the family's legal counsel emerged as a beacon of hope, meticulously dissecting the procedural missteps that had marred the investigation. He pointed out the egregious breach of Mexico's Federal Criminal Procedure Code, which unequivocally prohibits the cremation of bodies in cases of violent death, including those ruled as suicide. Such a law exists to preserve crucial forensic evidence, now forever lost in Mariana's case, sealing the fate of any further inquiry into her demise. As the public's indignation crescendoed, the Chiapas prosecutor's office attempted to placate the masses with a statement asserting the absence of physical or sexual assault in the autopsy findings. They also noted Mariana's lack of formal police reports regarding any sexual crimes. Yet, these declarations did little to soothe the collective ire, which had already taken root and was flourishing across the nation. In a show of solidarity and defiance, medical interns and students from the University of Autónoma de Chiapas took a stand. They launched an indefinite strike, refusing to accept the official narrative and demanding a comprehensive investigation. Through an open letter, they implored the university administration to take responsibility for the oversight that had allowed Mariana's cries for help to echo unanswered. They boldly labeled her death as femicide, not suicide, insisting that her life was taken. a tragedy that might have been averted had her pleas not fallen on deaf ears. The groundswell of public outrage transcended the boundaries of social meom, became a battleground, where stories, videos, and messages of condemnation were shared, exposing the systemic negligence that had failed Mariana. This movement, fueled by collective grief and anger, quickly gained traction, transforming into a national call to action that spilled into the streets. Mariana's case became emblematic of a larger systemic failure, a glaring indictment of the institutions that should have safeguarded her. Her repeated calls for aid went unheeded, as both the government and the university, which should have been her bastions of support, turned a blind eye. In her final months, when protection was paramount, she was left vulnerable, her family now carrying the torch in their relentless pursuit of justice. In this tale of sorrow and resilience, the story of Mariana stands as a testament to the enduring struggle against institutional apathy. It is a poignant reminder of the fight for justice in the face of overwhelming odds, where the voices of the many rise to challenge the failures of the few, seeking to illuminate a path towards change in a world too often cloaked in darkness. To have been marred by systemic failures and a pervasive culture of indifference, the tragedy of Mariana's death illuminated the dark underbelly of institutional neglect that had festered for far too long. As the nation grappled with the implications, the Ministry of the Interior's directive to the Chiapas Attorney General's office marked a pivotal moment. It was a call to action, demanding adherence to legal protocols for gender-based violence investigations and a commitment to a gender-sensitive approach. In the aftermath, the police issued a public statement asserting their dedication to maintaining close communication with Mariana's family. They vowed to provide unwavering support and resources, ensuring that the family did not face their grief alone. The involvement of the Chiapas Secretariat for Gender Equality was a crucial step, offering solace and assistance to Mariana's mother, Lord, who was still in the throes of recovery from surgery. Lord, despite her personal struggles, emerged as a powerful voice for justice. On February 2nd, she took to social media to express her heartfelt gratitude to those who stood by her daughter's cause. In a poignant video, she addressed the government officials who sought to place blame on her shoulders. Her words were a testament to her resilience and a mother's unwavering love. To those questioning my role as a mother, she declared, I was living outside Chiapas, working tirelessly to secure a future for my daughter. Some may criticize my decision to let her work far away, but she had her reasons for being there. The abuse she suffered was never her fault. This message resonated deeply with a public that had grown weary of institutional apathy. It exposed the profound mistrust that lingered between the citizens and the authorities. Lord's frustration was palpable as she decried the lack of transparency in the investigation. She had yet to gain access to the case file or receive an official copy of the investigation, fueling her determination to advocate for genuine justice. Justice unmarred by scapegoating or manipulated court processes. The arrest of Anai, the clinic director where Mariana worked on February 13th, marked a significant development in the case. The Chiapas State Attorney General's office accused Anai of abusing her power by failing to report the mistreatment Mariana endured, despite her awareness of it. Mariana's repeated complaints had been met with empty gestures, soup, time off, and unfulfilled promises to transfer the man who harassed her. In a disturbing twist of fate, it was Anai who ultimately called the police upon discovering Mariana's body on the morning of January 29th. A judge ordered her to remain in pretrial detention, citing clear evidence of negligence. Yet, even as the investigation unfolded, independent journalists uncovered a glaring omission in the police report. The Chiapas Attorney General's office had allowed Mariana's body to be cremated, a decision that effectively precluded any further forensic analysis. This oversight cast a long shadow over the integrity of the investigation, revealing significant flaws in the typical handling of femicide cases. Despite Mariana's previous warnings of danger, the investigation appeared to be ensnared in a web of systemic failures. In the harrowing story of Mariana's life and untimely death, one finds a microcosm of broader societal issues, of the silent cries of women overshadowed by institutional inertia. It is a narrative that compels us to reflect on the profound need for change, urging society to confront the ingrained cultures of neglect and to strive for a future where justice is not an elusive dream, but a tangible reality for all. The investigation into Mariana's tragic demise is a chilling tale of oversight and misdirection, a narrative that seems more intent on deflecting blame than uncovering the truth. The official report cast Mariana in a disparaging light, portraying her as perplexed and withdrawn, while conveniently sidestepping the brutal reality of the gender-based violence she had endured. Authorities maintained that Mariana alone was accountable for her death, a conclusion that raised more questions than it answered. The death certificate starkly noted her passing on the evening of January the 28th, citing asphyxiation by hanging as the cause. Yet the document conspicuously lacked essential forensic details, such as the type of rope used and the precise location of the hanging. Early reports from the scene further fueled suspicion, as her body was discovered in an unusual position not characteristic of a typical hanging. Forensic photographs depicted Mariana kneeling, her fists clenched, arms extended downward, a posture so atypical that some first responders mistook it for one of repose. As if to further obfuscate the investigation, authorities interrogated Mariana's colleagues on matters seemingly irrelevant to the case, probing into her personal hygiene and lifestyle choices. Witnesses spoke of her infrequent showers and unverified usage of antihistamines. Yet these details seemed more aimed at besmirching her character than advancing the investigation. To Mariana's family, these actions appeared as deliberate attempts to divert attention from viable suspects. Despite the investigation's manifold deficiencies, the family's legal representatives uncovered a pivotal lead: the identity of a man who had been harassing Mariana. Initially shrouded in secrecy, his name eventually emerged through the relentless efforts of social media users. The name Fernando Perez Jimenez surfaced, implicating him as the physician believed to be the source of Mariana's torment. On February the 18th, law enforcement executed a raid on Fernando's residence, but he had already fled. In an unexpected turn, he surrendered himself mere hours later, releasing a video online in which he proclaimed his innocence and decried the accusations as unjust persecution. Nevertheless, he was swiftly incarcerated, though not for the crime of Mariana's death. At that juncture, he faced charges solely pertaining to sexual harassment. The Attorney General's office maintained that the harassment allegations and the inquiry into Mariana's death were separate pursuits. Yet, Mariana's family remained resolute, unwavering in their quest for justice. During an early court proceeding, the Chiapas Attorney General's office presented compelling evidence linking Fernando to the criminal proceedings. Further disturbing revelations came to light, unveiling a pattern of sexual harassment accusations against him, some stretching back years. The gravity of the evidence compelled the judge to order Fernando's preventive detention, consigning him to prison. This case, marked by its labyrinthine twists and turns, underscores a broader societal struggle, a struggle to confront and dismantle systemic barriers to justice. In seeking truth, Mariana's family exemplifies the enduring human spirit's refusal to yield to injustice, a testament to the power of perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds. In the heart of Chiapas, where the verdant landscapes belie the darker struggles within, Lord stood as an unwavering beacon of resolve. As Mariana's mother, she led a tireless crusade for justice, her voice a clarion call against the shadows that sought to obscure the truth. From the moment her daughter was wronged, Lord refused to be silenced, demanding answers from a system fraught with delays and obfuscation. The investigation into Mariana's tragic case was marred by a labyrinth of bureaucratic inertia and systemic indifference. Yet amidst this relentless pursuit, Lord bore her own silent anguish, a private battle with bone cancer that she fought with quiet dignity. Her life was a testament to resilience, though it ended on August 8, 2021, before she could witness the justice she so fervently sought for her daughter. As Fernando stood trial, the court revisited Mariana's initial complaint, lodged a mere 2 months before her untimely demise. The narrative of a nurse who, in February 2013, accused Fernando of attempted assault, further complicated the proceedings. Despite the mounting evidence, Fernando steadfastly proclaimed his innocence, declaring he had never even exchanged words with Mariana. He claimed an alibi, stating he was at a medical laboratory in Tu. By November 25, 2021, the legal machinery rendered its verdict. Fernando received a sentence of 3 years, but only for the charge of sexual harassment. The deeper questions surrounding Mariana's death remained unanswered, with no charges filed against him or others in connection with her demise. The forensic evidence, sparse and contentious, left an unsettling void, casting a pall of uncertainty over the case. In the end, Mariana's story is one of profound loss and unresolved justice, a poignant reminder of the complexities that often lie beneath the surface of human tragedy. It is a narrative that challenges us to reflect on the enduring quest for truth and the courage required to confront the darkness, even when the path ahead is obscured by shadows.